All right. Well, thank you all for showing up today out here at the old federal building where the local ICE field office is to stand up against ICE and defend our immigrant neighbors. So my name is Cameron Stringfield. I'm with the Party for Socialism and Liberation here in Eugene. We've been spearheading a project called the Lane County Immigration Defense Network, LCIDN, and with that we wanted to have this day as a call to action to plug into the many ways that you can defend your immigrant neighbors. But I'll go ahead and get started with my opening remarks, and then we'll go to some more speakers and a poet and have a good program for you. So, Oregon is a sanctuary state, and Eugene is essentially a sanctuary city, but that doesn't mean people here are safe. There's an ICE office here, and deportations are still happening. People are being detained after ICE appointments, and families are still being separated. So as much as we may think that this is a progressive city where people are safer and these things don't happen, it still does happen, and we need to be equipped to fight it. Being a sanctuary city only means that the local police here can't enforce ICE warrants or assist with immigration raids. It doesn't mean that deportations aren't happening. It doesn't mean we can afford to stay silent while our community is torn apart. Behind me in this building is our local ICE field office. You can see ICE agents walking and driving around this city. ICE is here in Eugene. And because they are federal agents and are based on federal property, Eugene can't exactly evict them. What Eugene and Lane County can do is pass more explicit non-cooperation policies with ICE to make sure schools, hospitals, and other local agencies cannot work with ICE. If this is supposedly such a progressive city, then stand up to Trump and do everything in your power to stop his racist immigration policies and agenda. This building, however, is ironically up for sale by the federal government amidst the Doge cuts. Where will ICE go? In 2019, ICE left their offices in a federal building in Providence, Rhode Island after sustained protests. The same has happened in Philadelphia and other cities. ICE can be pressured to leave our city. They're not required to be here. We don't have to accept ICE. That is why we're here today. This rally is a call to action. There are many ways we as a community can struggle against ICE and to defend our immigrant neighbors, students, and more. We need you to plug in and join the defense of our immigrant neighbors. And our speakers today will describe ways to do that, as well as talk about their experiences as immigrants and descendants of immigrants. While you listen to these speakers, please feel free to visit our tables and pick up materials that educate all of us on our rights and make ICE's job harder. We are trying to stop arrests, wrongful, illegal arrests of ICE. That is what we are here to do, to defend our communities and to equip them with the tools to defend themselves. If you value these resources, such as the hotline to report ICE activity, the don't open for ICE flyers, the red cards that tell people their rights when ICE agents or police come to their door about immigration, if you value these things and you want to get these materials out to our immigrant neighbors all throughout this county, please consider giving us a donation for our printing. It isn't free. It takes a lot to print. Ink is expensive. Yes, and so we need your money. It sucks, but we're under capitalism, and we need it to be able to print that and get those hotlines all around this city and get red cards on the hands of all of our immigrant neighbors. We are struggling for our rights in the same way as Mahmoud Khalil and the many foreign students that are being illegally abducted and deported by ICE. And so with that, we also have free Mahmoud Khalil prints that you can give us a donation in exchange for. And now with that, I will go ahead and give it to our first speakers. Sure. Clover.
Can you hear me in the back? All right. Hello, my name is Clover Linares, and this is the first time I've actually not like fully written something out to speak, because I really wanted to touch to my heart today. I grew up in Southern California, San Diego, 30 minutes from the southern border, and that thing has destroyed communities. The border's existence has plagued the communities and neighborhoods I have grown up in like nothing else I've seen before. And ICE's presence has ripped apart and destroyed communities that I grew up in ways I have never, ever seen before. I had to have long conversations in childhood with people my age about if they're going to see their parents, if they're going to get to America, if they're going to have to leave America. Hard conversations that should never have to happen. Families that should never have to worry about being torn apart. But amidst all of that fear and all of that sadness and anger, I saw one other thing. I saw many, many people coming together, meeting their neighbors, helping their neighbors, feeding their neighbors, enjoying community with one another and defending them from ICE, housing people who need housing and defendants from ICE, getting them direct aid. I simply got together with a group of my friends on the weekends and we cooked food and we drove it down those 30 minutes and we gave direct border aid to people in asylum who needed it. Get together with your friends, find out what you can do. You can do small things and together your community if you get to know them, if you get to know what they need, if you get to know if they need your support. Don't pry, don't make them unsafe. No one needs to give up their status to you. But please let them know that if they have a status that makes them scared right now, you are a safe person that can go run them a grocery run and bring it to their house. That you can get them their prescriptions from the store. That you can help people out who are too scared to go outside right now because we have people in civilian clothing kidnapping people off of the streets and sending them overseas. This is not what we stand for in this country, and I've never, ever thought that I would have to worry about ICE in a place like Eugene, Oregon, and we can drive them the fuck out of here, okay? So please, get together with your friends, find out what you can do, meet together, find tangible ways to help your community right here and right now, and together we can make really powerful things happen. Please. Thank you all.
Thank you, Clover. So we'll go ahead and do some chants. The first one you might have heard at recent protests. It goes, brick by brick, wall by wall, this racist system has to fall. Brick by brick, wall by wall, this racist system has to fall. Brick by brick, wall by wall, this racist system has to fall. Brick by brick, wall by wall, this racist system has to fall. Woo! Another one. From Palestine to Mexico, these border walls have got to go. From Palestine to Mexico, these border walls have got to go. From Palestine to Mexico, these border walls have got to go. From Palestine to Mexico, these border walls have got to go. Woo! All right, we'll go ahead and go to our next speaker, which is Solemn. Go ahead and give it up for Solemn, people.
Hello. I similarly didn't prepare anything to speak, but there's enough coming from... Whoa! Can you hear me? Okay. Sorry. Turn it up. I haven't started speaking yet. I'm sorry. I'm trying to think. I was, I don't know, thinking about what I was going to say. It's insane that we have to live in a time right now, and I mean, we shouldn't be accepting what's going on right now as normal, but the way that the people in power are trying to force it into our cities, like this fucking piece of shit building right here, and these piece of shit cops that are probably in the back or something. This isn't normal. We're watching a Gestapo of plainclothes officers kidnap people, and on the basis of their beliefs. And the other day, it was ruled by some judge in a robe that you can deport, or Mahmoud Khalil specifically is able to be deported on the basis of his views and the basis of his protest, and that's not fucking normal. This is fascism. We are watching fascism here, right now. And if you're wondering what you would have done in the time of the Nazis, you're doing it. You're doing it right now. And that goes for educating yourself, and that goes for defending your neighbors, and that goes for feeding your neighbors, and that goes for pretending. Whoa, not pretending. We're not pretending about fucking anything. I'll tell you that much. Protecting the people that need it most. The media has reported that students at UO have gotten their visa status revoked, and that is this fascism creeping in. It's finally made its way here onto the biggest institution in this town, and it's stealing people away on the basis of existing, and we can't have that happen. What the fuck? I mean, I'm sorry. Thank you. I mean, there's not a lot to be said that like isn't obvious enough. Like doing what we're doing here today, this just has to stay like kept up, you know? And I was asked to relate this to Palestine and what's going on over there, and I'm thinking about how occupation has plagued that land for 78, you know, on paper, but over 100 years if you're being realistic. And these people have built up a resilience that they have had to, and the situation that they're facing is like something that people in the U.S. could have never imagined, and it's finally beginning to happen. People are being taken, and people are being swiped on behalf of things that the government doesn't agree with. And this is something that my parents are Palestinian Lebanese immigrants, and they would talk about how fucking outrageous the like state of Israel and its borders and its checkpoints are, and how little you can say. My mom grew up in an occupied village in what they call Israel. It's the north area, and she had to assimilate as a second-class citizen because her and her family were Arab, and so she grew up like not talking about Palestine because she was never able to. And as I got older, she brought up that she wasn't even able to say the word out loud without being questioned by police. Or she had an uncle that was like a prominent Palestinian writer, and she would always get checked about it. And it's just the injustices that have been over there for so long are making their way here. And again, everybody you know needs to fight back, because this isn't fucking normal. And it's not like anything in this country ever was normal. Like you can't, on the basis of manifest destiny, white supremacy, come and take a whole piece of land from a people that had been there longer than anybody had ever existed, and then call it a country. This was fucked up as it is, but now it's more overt than it ever has been. And yeah, again, not a lot to be said that's not obvious, but stand up, fight back, for sure. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. We'll go ahead and do some more chants here real quick before our next speaker. Repeat after me. Money for jobs and education, not for mass deportation. Money for jobs and education, not for mass deportation. Money for jobs and education, not for mass deportation. Money for jobs and education, not for mass deportation. Another one. When immigrants are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When immigrants are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When immigrants are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When immigrants are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When students are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When students are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When students are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Woo! All right, our next speaker is a local poet, an anti-Zionist poet, Shakar, who's going to say a few words for us. Take it away.
Thank you, Cameron. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Thanks. So I usually don't introduce myself very much. I just kind of get up and do some poetry. But today, I thought I might introduce myself a little bit and speak a little bit about my own family story or immigrant story. It's not that exciting. That's okay. My name is Shakar Friday. I was born in Palestine 48, also known as Israel, to Jewish Zionist parents. The true owners and tenders of the land where I was born have been getting massacred in every way imaginable for over 75 years. Yet, I am of that land and am repulsed by what has been perpetrated in my name. To think that such Zionist barbarism would keep Jews safe is absolutely ludicrous. My grandparents fled the Holocaust in Europe, so I am intimately aware of the consequences and reverberations of the wholesale and systemic slaughter of a people. The trauma and pain are immeasurable. Not a single Palestinian death goes by me without my feeling deeply ashamed and infuriated. As a young kid, I came to this settler colony as an immigrant and learned of the red and black roots that permeate this soil, and was once again repulsed, and yet resist with every cell in my body the notion of complacency. So I stand before you, deeply imperfect, striving to write and speak my way through these awful contradictions, understanding that the liberation of Palestine is entwined in the liberation of Turtle Island. And I must say thank you to the organizers and to you all who have shown up to publicly call out our vile fascist government. Please look around and get to know each other. Knock around ideas, get inspired and activated. We need more education, inspiration, and collaboration among our community. All right, now on to some poems. Thank you. Just called this one Fuck ICE Rally. I'm kind of running out of titles. I've lost count as the death toll mounts. Mass graves, abducted, sold as slaves. What kind of terror is this? What horror? What an awful abyss to peer down, down, down into. Seared skin, a cemetery of children, families scattered and strewn by an orange baboon. What is this nightmare I can't deny on my screen? I need to scream, dying dreams. I want to hide. I want to hide you in my naturalized armor. Don't be so sure all it takes is composure and a shit ton of tears dried by the cold fate of a fascist state to turn my heart into a smooth stone thrown at an accursed soldier so that maybe I might free you and me in our quest for justice. Thanks. One more for y'all. I stopped by to get some oranges. Not because I give a shit about oranges. I stopped by to chat, to connect, to show love. I consider the bravery, the sacrifice, the price, the cowardly cops, their deadly stops, the drunk on power, cowards, keeping no one safe, boiling my organs in agony at the thought that a hard-working father is denied the sweetest wonder of running his hard-working fingers through his daughter's hair. What love is more bare? The color of one's skin is a curse in a system hell-bent on the perverse ideology that color is might, when it is nothing more than fright born of barbarity, stupidity, a repulsive sight. If I am to witness the greatest depravities of our times, the beheading of children, the abduction and impaling of doctors, the disappearing of dissidents with monstrous intent, the criminalizing of a free, warm plate of food, a loving community, not just a neighborhood, that humanity denied too, then I must resist, as a stubborn dandelion gets picked up by the wind and spreads wildly. If I am to cry, let it be tears of the rejection of a system that applauds a mother's wailing for her children, while her struggle and anguish are labeled as collateral damage, and the children left familyless, amputated, heart and all. If I am to cry, let it be in fury, not powerless and afraid, but steadfast and defiant. Thank you. Don't mourn, organize. Thank you.
Woo! Give it up for Shakar, everybody! It was a magnificent poem. So go ahead and repeat after me. No fear, no hate, no ICE in our state. No fear, no hate, no ICE in our state. No fear, no hate, no ICE in our state. No fear, no hate, no ICE in our state. Now the next one, there's a part in Spanish and then there's a part in English. I'm going to teach you the Spanish version first. You might have heard this at events already. It goes, El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. 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 Now what does that mean? It's really powerful. What it means is the people united will never be defeated. 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 All right, we'll go ahead and give it to our next speaker, Kaylee, who's going to talk about the situation here in Oregon at the university.
Good afternoon, everybody. Who is here? You can raise your hand or your arm or your sign. Who's here today because you're pissed? Who's here today because you are fucking disgusted? Who's here today because you refuse to be complicit in mass deportation? That's right, that's what I thought. My name is Kaylee. I'm a community organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. I'm also a faculty member at the University of Oregon. And the reason I started with that is because this system wants us to be afraid, scared, hopeless, like Shakar's poem mentioned. And the only way that we're going to defeat that is through refusing to capitulate. Because capitulating gives them what they want. They want, this is shock and awe, what we're seeing right now at campuses across the country, in neighborhoods across the country. These photos out of El Salvador. This is meant as shock and awe. This is meant to scare us. This is meant to make us shut up and go home and shove our heads in the sand and be depressed and refuse to engage in any kind of fight back. And that's capitulation, and we will not capitulate. Going a little off script. All right. All right. So, we cannot let them make you or us forget our power. There are things that each of us here today can do, and that's what I'm here to focus on. Any gains for immigrant communities, any other communities in this country, have never been handed down graciously to us by politicians, by the ruling class. They have been fought and they have been won by people just like you and just like me out in the streets refusing to accept business as usual, refusing to allow this to be the status quo. That is how change is made. Do not let them scare you. All of those feelings, right? Being pissed, being depressed, being horrified, being disgusted, that's a very normal response, and that's important. But their strategy depends on you staying that way. Their strategy depends on you staying in that state of overwhelm, that shock and awe, right? Yeah. So, as many of you probably know, and as has been mentioned, there have been attacks on university students across the country, faculty and staff, I'll also add. Mahmoud Khalil, as many of you know, a Palestinian student organizer at Columbia University, recently detained and being held in Louisiana. A judge, as was mentioned, has ruled that he can in fact be deported, literally for his speech, right? It has been shame. It has been made clear by the Trump administration that this is not due to any criminality. This is not due to any criminal charges. This is literally due to his speech. They're using a 1952 McCarran-Walter Act, Cold War era, McCarthyite era, a law to pick him and Rumeysa and countless other students, faculty, and staff, claiming that they are enemies of the state, claiming that they are supporting terrorism, and we reject that. They are pulling legal residents, green card holders, upstanding members of their community off the streets, deporting them, holding them in ICE detention. And as many of you know, at least 4 University of Oregon students here in Oregon, at the University of Oregon, and several others, dozens of others at Portland State and Oregon State have also had their visas revoked, essentially being asked to self-deport, right? That's what these are meant to do. They're trying to get people to self-deport. And what's important to know is that, as I mentioned, it's very easy to focus on all of the horrors that our students are experiencing right now. I want to focus on a couple things and reasons for optimism and hope. Alongside several other faculty and staff, within a week, I don't know, time is fake, it's all a blur, but with about a week, We've raised almost $20,000 in a legal fund to defend these students. That scares the Trump administration. In that same time, the Associated Students of the University of Oregon have allocated $150,000 of their budget for these students to access legal representation. And when I say these students, I don't just mean these current students, but future students whose visas will likely be. We anticipate that this is the first of many visa revocations. This is the first wave. So we have collectively as a community, we have raised funds, we have allocated funds, we have mobilized around these students. So while it's horrifying, I don't want you to be horrified. I want you to be pissed, and I want you to do something about it. So on that note, there is a fundraiser. Like I said, lots of funds have been raised. You, of course, can contribute to it. That link is bit.ly/student legal fund. It's on GoFundMe. My name's associated with it. You can Google my name, Kaylee Brownson. It's very public. And you can find it, share it, because these students, I'm actively paying lawyers' invoices right now. So please, any and all support there would be helpful. So that is a concrete thing that everybody here today can leave and do, right? Another concrete thing that I want to make you aware of. Who here, I hope that the answer is very few people, but who people here know about this airline called Avelo Airlines? Okay, I see a couple head nods. Good. We're going to keep it that way, even though I'm going to talk about them, because Avelo Airlines, Avelo, I've heard it said both ways, is the only commercial airliner to contract with the federal government, with ICE, to facilitate deportation flights out of Arizona. This is next level, right? While there is yet to be any indication of such flights here in Oregon, it is an obligation of all people to reject this barbaric and greedy decision. Avelo, if you don't know, does operate regular flights out of the Eugene airport to the Los Angeles Burbank airport. And we call upon all local and visiting travelers to join together and refuse to support a company that actively profits from family separation by boycotting Avelo Airlines. So, spoiler, all of the information I'm sharing today, we're going to be sharing on our social media. So if you don't follow us already at PSL Eugene, there's going to be information about this boycott campaign. I want to share a little bit more about this because I think it's interesting. Despite public backlash, Avelo's CEO, Andrew Levy, has defended this decision, prioritizing corporate quote-unquote stability over human rights by saying, quote, boo. We realize this is a sensitive and complicated topic. After significant deliberations, we've determined that this charter flying will provide us with the stability to continue expanding our core scheduled passenger service and keep more than 1,000 crew members employed for years to come. Boo! We utterly reject this attempt to pit the interests of Avelo workers against the interests of immigrant workers that Trump wants to deport. We know that all workers benefit when we realize that our interests are aligned against the owners, executives, and politicians that are harming all of us. I also want to highlight Avelo spokesperson Courtney Goff said that the airline, told reporters, that the airline also carried deportation flights for the Biden administration. Deportation flights are not sensitive and complicated. They are violent, they are inhumane, and they are part of a system that criminalizes and dehumanizes immigrants. By partnering with ICE, Avelo is complicit in the system of displacement and destroying people's lives. So what can you do about this? Boycott. Punch ICE officers. Let's see. There we go. All right. You can boycott. You can contact the airline, very easy to do on their website. You can contact the Eugene airport. There are airports all across this country that are ending business with Avelo Airlines over this policy decision. We encourage you to contact the city of Eugene, express your discontent that Avelo Airlines is allowed to operate out of our airport. There's also a petition that's been started by the New Haven Immigrants Coalition. And like I said, you can find more information about this at the table. And if you follow us on Instagram, all these calls to action will be available for you. So I want to end by saying that rallies like this one, boycotts, fundraisers, these are all very critical. But they are not in and of themselves the solution. We need solutions that match the scale of the problem. The same ruling class politicians that are responsible for mass deportations and Gestapo-like immigration practices, they are the same ruling class that is responsible for the unspeakable massacres in Gaza. They are responsible for the housing crisis. They are responsible for the climate crisis, and they are responsible for the cost of living crisis and every other single crisis that working class people in this country and around the world face. These are not, as Avilo Airlines told us, these are not crises of one presidential administration. These are crises of the system. Both major parties are to blame for these crises. The time to build an independent working class movement is now, because we need a new system. If you resonate with what I have to say, the Party for Socialism and Liberation is having an interest meeting next Tuesday at 7 o'clock at First Christian Church here in Eugene. You can find information about it there. Like I said, you can follow us on PSL Eugene, at PSL Eugene on Instagram. You can hear about all of these events, calls to action, and ways that you can get involved in building the movement that for a new system that not just allows immigrants to exist here, but values and centers the needs of immigrants and the most vulnerable and oppressed people in our society. Woo! All right, repeat after me. I will say no hate, no fear. You will say immigrants are welcome here, all right? No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. I can't hear you, and I know that nobody's in those offices, but pretend that they are. No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. Woo! Also want to point out there's some signs up here. If you don't have one and would like one, come grab one. Thank you all. Free Palestine.
All right, thank you, Kaylee. It's very important to protect our students right now and stand up for them as they're on the front lines of this struggle against ICE, and ICE is going after them first. So before I go to our next chance, I just want to ask one of our speakers that's supposed to be here tonight, their name is Victoria. Victoria, if you're here, make sure to just go over towards our table so that we can make sure to go to you as a speaker. But I'll go ahead and get started with our next chants. The first one, brick by brick, wall by wall, this racist system has to fall. Brick by brick, wall by wall, this racist system has to fall. Brick by brick, wall by wall, this racist system has to fall. Brick by brick, wall by wall, this racist system has to fall. Louder, brick by brick. Wall by wall, this racist system has to fall. Woo! Another one. This one might be new to some of you, but this is regarding U of O. So Carl Schultz is the president of U of O, right? Well, this one goes, Carl Schultz, don't be a chump. If you're so great, stand up to Trump. All right, now all together. Carl Schultz, don't be a chump. If you're so great, stand up to Trump. Carl Schultz, don't be a chump. If you're so great, stand up to Trump. Carl Schultz, don't be a chump. If you're so great, stand up to Trump. Woo! Woo, 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 woo. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and go to our next speaker. which is Rob with the Lane County Immigrant Defense Network.
Hey, hello. Welcome, everybody. Fuck Ice. All right. That said, this is going to be more of a boring one. Sorry. So, talking for the Lane County Immigrant Defense Network, a lot of people up here today have been talking about we want to mobilize, we want to do something, we're not going to capitulate, right? Trying to give calls to action. So I want to talk a little bit about what we're going to do about it at the Lane County Immigrant Defense Network and some of the things that we're trying to organize and why we're trying to organize those things and where they fit in to like an integrated immigrant defense support system in Lane County. So here today, for example, we're yelling at the ICE office, and that's super fun. And mobilizing is great. We get together with all our people, and we love that. Mobilization is important for creating community, for making our voice heard, to show what the size of our force and the strength of our force is. And it's also important to get involved then in organization and what that means. Organized action that is addressing real issues that are actually creating the defense structures that we need. And what is the point of all of this in Oregon? And I'm sharing now some analysis that I recently was in conversation with someone from the Trans Alliance for Lane County, another group who is being targeted, being attacked by the Trump administration. That in Oregon, our elected officials, if you ask them, they'll say, we support immigrants. They'll say, we support trans people. We have a sanctuary state for immigrants. We have sanctuary policies for trans people, and so on. And it's very easy to say that now, right? But the Trump administration doesn't give a shit about Oregon. Doesn't need any votes out of Oregon. So what is the point of their action as far as Oregon? It's like, how are they going to try to reach into Oregon to get us to change the policies we have here? I know all the people I'm looking at today are ready to not capitulate to the Trump administration and what their ideas are about what we're going to do. Sounds good. Do you think our governor feels as strongly about not capitulating to the Trump administration as you do? No. Do you think our state legislature, our city council, feel as strongly about that as you do? No. When the pressure is on, they won't. Unless we make them scared of us, as scared of us as they are of the Trump administration. Because what can the Trump administration do? They can pull money. That's a big deal. They can say, if you're gonna keep these sanctuary policies, we're not gonna give you money anymore. And we need to be organized enough to make it painful on the other side so that our leaders still don't capitulate in the face of those threats. So that's part of what mobilization and organization is about. Another thing that it's about is something that we're organizing for next Saturday, which is a day of mass outreach for Know Your Rights materials and other materials that we have over here at the table. What we're planning is next Saturday between 2 and 4, we hope that people can organize independently or with us by all means, but like groups in your neighborhood, in your own place, wherever you are in the city. We want to flood Eugene and we want to flood Springfield with these posters, with these handouts that say, don't open for ICE. These are your rights if ICE comes to your door, right? This is the hotline number to call if you think you see ICE and you think you're in trouble and you need some support. Next Saturday, we want to have in every neighborhood around Eugene and every neighborhood around Springfield, teams that are going out and putting those materials out to make sure we get the broadest coverage possible of the city, okay? And that's something that we've been doing since the start of the Trump administration, putting them around. It was like raining. A lot of them are down now. But we've also been, doing it like a set of people here, a set of people there, a set of people there. We hope that getting everyone together on the same day, getting everything out at the same time, will make a real show for everyone so that everyone, wherever they are, can see what their rights are, what they should do if they see ICE, and so on, and really make a show out of that. And then later on, come debrief with us at Sladden Park in Eugene at 4:30. So you can find more information about that over at the table. I just want to talk a little bit about why we're doing that. Because when we stand up here and we talk about fascism is coming, they're sending ununiformed, plainclothes people to abduct people off the street, that can seem like rights don't matter, like this information isn't helpful, and so on. And to an extent, there's something about that, right? Like the law, our rights, fighting battles in court, this is on enemy territory. The law is enemy territory. The enemy has made the law. The enemy has the law enforcement. And that is like enemy territory, the law. But we still fight in that space. We still win battles in that space. We will not win the war in that space. We will not defeat our enemy in that space once and for all. But we need to fight those battles because the individual people in our community matter, and we can win those battles, right? And so I want to just read really quickly. The Portland Immigrants' Rights Coalition has been doing this for a long time. In Portland, there's a really extensive network of immigrant support and defense that they are like the cornerstone of. I just want to read a story that they published from earlier this week. On Monday, a family called our hotline after ICE agents knocked on their door and identified themselves. The family exercised their rights by not opening the door and immediately contacted PERC, the hotline. We quickly dispatched trained legal observers who recorded the encounter, questioned ICE's presence, and helped de-escalate the situation. ICE left without detaining anyone. We've since connected the family with ECO, which is a legal support service. Legal support. Sorry, my phone sucks. To ensure ongoing support, community members, including local legal observers and friends in the child's school, there's a child, have since rallied around the family to offer protection and solidarity. So there you see all the pieces of a support network working together as appropriate. This family knew not to open the door. They knew the phone number to call. When they called the number, they got the support they needed. Legal observers dispatched quickly. After they left with no one detained, there were community support ready to step in and help the family and so on. This is something that we can build. It requires a lot of really non-sexy type of work to achieve these kinds of very sexy results. Okay? Things like showing up at the rally. Things like committing next Saturday between 2 and 4 p.m. to participate or lead an outreach session in your neighborhood. And so if you have a quarter sheet with a QR code to sign up, that's great. If you didn't get one yet, see one at the table. But that's why we're doing this work, and what the goal is here in Lane County is to create a network and system that is that effective at stepping in some situation like that. Thank you. I'm not going to go for too much longer, I promise. We also have regular organizing meetings the fourth Wednesday of every month over at First Christian Church. We have flyers for that too. It's also going to be on our social media. That's where we're on an ongoing basis, like building the skills, building the connections to all of those other pieces of immigrant defense, a lot of which already exist. We have social service organizations in Eugene, NGOs and so on. A lot of that exists, but it's not all integrated in a way that it's working together perfectly effectively at all times. So this is part of the ongoing work, and this is something that we're doing every month on Wednesday nights. This month we're going to be talking about sanctuary everywhere. We're a sanctuary state. Great. That means law enforcement doesn't coordinate with with ICE. They're not supposed to, right? Okay. What sanctuary everywhere is about creating a workplace that doesn't cooperate with ICE, about creating community centers that don't cooperate with ICE, daycare centers that don't cooperate with ICE, and so on. Everywhere that we are needs to be a sanctuary. And so what information, what skills, what organization do we need to make that happen? That's one of the things we'll be talking about this month. The last thing I'll say is that Solemn was up here speaking, and one of the things that came out of Solemn's speech was that there's not a lot to say that isn't obvious. Yeah, hell yeah. A lot of that is true for everyone who came out today. A lot of the things that we might say are obvious to everyone who is currently here. Everyone who is currently here, and I'm sorry to say this, is not enough to ultimately defeat the forces that we are facing. To actually win, this is not enough. And unfortunately, the other part of our battle is there's a defense battle that we're fighting to make sure people know their rights and can avoid being arrested and detained. Like, this is defending our community. There's a proactive ideological war that we're also fighting. And we're fighting it also by talking with and turning over members of our own class. There are members of our own class who believe that deportation is helpful to them, that this is something that will improve our lives here in the United States as workers. Fuck that. Fuck that. That's bullshit. Fuck those people, motherfuckers. Sure. We need them to be here with us. And this is the other piece of the ideological war. We need to intervene with members of our own class who have these opinions. We can't just talk to ourselves. And so another set of documents we have over at the table that we have to share on the Immigrant Defense Toolkit, pamphlets that are talking about the truth about mass deportation. This is what working people in the United States need to understand in order to be against mass deportation. And we need them all if we're going to win. And I say this as someone who feels very strongly that being self-righteous about these things is very fun. It's like very fun to feel morally above the people who are like currently backward about this. But that is simply not the way to win. To win, we need to convince them. And that's another piece of the materials we have. We have Know Your Rights materials. We have propaganda over here to convince our fellow working people of our message. And these are all of the things that we're hoping to spread around next Saturday. Please get connected. Thanks.
All right, thank you for that, Rob. We got just another speaker after this. I'll do some chants. We'll go to that, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up for today. So repeat after me. Money for jobs and education, not for mass deportation. Money for jobs and education, not for mass deportation. Money for jobs and education, not for mass deportation. Woo! And I'll repeat this one because I think it's the crux of our rally today, why we're all here. When immigrants are under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. When immigrants are under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. When immigrants are under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. When immigrants are under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. That's right. Woo! All right, we'll go ahead and go to our next speaker, which is Victoria. Go ahead and take it away.
Hi, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm a second-generation immigrant. My parents primarily were farm workers growing up. This is the second speech I've done. I actually talked about this exact issue at the Hands Off rally recently, actually on the 5th. They don't want to see us win because this is what it looks like when we win. My grandma was a seed and I am the flower that bloomed from her. She worked tireless hours and days out in the hot sun, picking strawberries and lettuce. People ate all the way across the country, not knowing what it took to harvest it. She gave her life and her livelihood to feed so many people, and I could not be more proud to be her granddaughter. I was class president for 2 years. I'm on honor roll. I won Miss Teen Springfield, so many more accomplishments, and it's because my grandma left her home, left everything behind to give me a future. She was the seed, and I am the flower that bloomed from her, and that's why these protests are so important, because there are so many more first-generation immigrants out there who deserve a chance to shine and deserve a chance to be seen and to be heard. I'm 18 years old. I shouldn't have to be up here at protests every Saturday fighting for basic human respect. It doesn't make sense. The right constantly is pushing the agenda that we're lazy, that we steal people's jobs. I didn't know your dream when you were growing up was to be a strawberry picker in a field. Oh yeah, that was your dream. Oh, we're stealing your jobs. I didn't know you wanted to work minimum wage for $14 an hour to feed 3 kids. That was your dream growing up? Because that's not my dream, and that's not my hope for my future kids. The fight for immigrant advocacy has started long before I've been up here. I'm the 3rd generation to continue the fight that Dolores Huerta and Cesar Chavez have fought so hard for. They fought tireless hours and hours and hours, and I refuse to give up that dream and to let it die. And I'm so happy to see all you out here who continue to fight for that same message of equality and commitment. Because the people who are feeding us, the people who are cleaning our hotels, the bottom class is all Hispanic. We've been overlooked and underpaid and underprivileged, and it's gone on too long. I shouldn't have to be up here. I want to repeat that. I should not have to be up here on a Saturday preaching the same thing that my grandma was preaching. That's 75 years. That's 75 years. That's too long. That's way too long. Trump came into office and revoked Title 42, which was a super important act during COVID, which helped my family members from Mexico cross over to America while Mexico was in a financial crisis due to COVID. As soon as he took office in 2020, 2020? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. 2020, he got rid of Title 42, abolishing Mexicans' rights to seek asylum in America due to economic crises in Mexico. And this may not seem like a significant deal, but the poverty rates in Mexico have skyrocketed while the economy off of our backs has gone up in America. It's not fair. Everyone should have an equal access to education. Why are we allowing ICE into our schools to take our children? It doesn't make sense. I'm so happy to see all you guys here fighting for what so many of us has fought for hundreds of years. And it doesn't just stop at protest. Please stop buying grapes that are picked by Dole. Please stop buying strawberries that are picked by Dole. Fuck mass production farms. Fuck Tyson. Fuck Tyson. Fuck Dole. Fuck their pineapples. Fuck their bananas. Fuck their mass production meat products. These factory workers are getting E. coli. They're getting syphilis. They're getting so many diseases from these mass production meat companies who aren't paying them enough. They're not protecting their workers. Not to mention, Dole has a contract with ICE. If they deport one family at the end of every month, ICE won't deport all their workers. That's confirmed. So please, please, please keep speaking out, keep protesting, keep boycotting, keep speaking. So my children one day will not have to be out here on a Saturday protesting for their rights, but rather actually have the chance to be children. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. And thank you all for being here today. Before we end out this rally, I'm just going to sort of repeat the calls to action here and what you can do, the upcoming events that are coming up that you can plug into to get involved in the struggle. So I think the most primary thing right now is please continue to support our students by donating to that fundraiser that Kaylee mentioned earlier. It's bit.ly/student legal fund. And I think you can find information about that over there. So continue to support our students. Also, if you'd like to donate to another thing, please donate to us for printing, for those materials, the Don't Open for ICE flyer, the hotline to report ICE activity, our red cards, all of these things that we want to get out into the hands of our neighbors in the coming days and weeks. There's also the mass outreach session that we want you to join next Saturday here in Eugene to go all around this city and put up those materials and hand out those red cards and everything. And then there will be a social after that. But that mass outreach session will be 2 to 4 p.m. on Saturday, April 19th. here in Eugene, Springfield. If you go to that table or you go to our social media at PSL Eugene, you'll be able to find the QR code that you can scan that'll take you to the Google form where you can sign up for wherever you want to do that outreach. So join us for that. There's also a community organizing meeting for the Lane County Immigrant Defense Network, Wednesday, April 23rd at 6 p.m. at the First Christian Church. That's at Big White Church with the porticos and everything over on Oak Street. There's also a PSL interest meeting. If you're interested in PSL from the work that we do at these rallies and throughout our community, you can go to the interest meeting also at First Christian Church at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, April 15th. And then I also just want to plug in, this is an event where we're all working class here. We are all struggling within our own class, and this is part of the overall struggle against imperialism and the ruling class that oppresses us. So please join us for May Day 2025. That's May 4th at 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. at the Eugene Park blocks, 8th and Oak, right around where they had the Saturday market today. Please join us for that as well. And then, yes, and then there's a sign up for that mass outreach session next Saturday that I mentioned. So plenty of ways to plug in. Please find a way to plug in and give your efforts however you feel that you can. Everybody can do something, so please keep involved. Thank you for coming out here today. Thank you for standing around and listening to our speakers, and continue the fight. Go ahead.